Hello and welcome back to another Budget With Me episode here on MTT Finance, where we will be taking a look at my September budget and seeing how it's going with both my income columns and my expenses for the month of September. If you're new here, consider subscribing as I post videos usually each week regarding my journey to becoming financially independent and successful. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back to watch this video. Be sure to give it a thumbs up and a like if you like this. So usually how I break down these Budget With Me videos here on the channel is I post one per paycheck that I get that month. And this month I get 2 paychecks. I'm paid bi-weekly. And so I just missed the cut on getting 3 paychecks this month. And so this is the second video in the series for the month of September. If you haven't checked the first video out, I'll be sure to leave a link in the description so you can go and get caught up with how the beginning portion of September is going with my budget. So I think now would be a good time to bring in my budget spreadsheet for the month of September. You guys have already seen this. I don't really need to do any introduction to what you see here. But right off the back, I do want to mention this paycheck number 2. In my last video, which I posted a few weeks ago, I talked about how my first paycheck for the month of September was actually considerably lower than what I thought it was going to be. Actually, I knew it was going to be lower. As I've mentioned in the past, my job is semi-commission based. Just like a car salesman or just like someone who sells real estate, you're kind of at the mercy of your clients. If your clients back out, it's reflected in how much you get paid. And that's pretty much exactly what happens with me. If a client decides to cancel right before I get to their house, well, then that's reflected in my paycheck. And I had quite a few cancellations last week, in addition to it just being a lower client, lower patient case week. And so you got to kind of take what you're given, and you can't complain about it because it is what it is, and there's nothing much I can do about it. I do want to mention one other thing while we are on the topic of income and paychecks. Many of you in the past have mentioned in the comments, and this has even been something I've thought about doing for a temporary time while I am trying to aggressively pay off my mountain of student loan debts that I owe. And that is to potentially take on a part-time job or some type of part-time gig that I could use to supplement or offset when my paychecks for my regular job are lower, such as they are this month. So a big announcement that I have for my viewers is starting in the beginning of October, which is just around the corner, through the end of November, I'm going to be taking on a part-time job, working around 20 hours a week to further supplement my income, and that way I can more aggressively pay off my student loans. Now, there are some upsides and downsides to doing this. The upside is that I actually know exactly who I'm going to be working with. This is a family friend of ours who actually reached out to me and asked if I wanted this position, and it's doing kind of fun things. I'm actually working with candy and chocolate, which I love those two things. I probably shouldn't be eating any of it because it's their product, and I shouldn't be eating it all already because I eat too much sweets as it is. But it will be fun working with people I already know. It's going to be in the afternoons, so 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. I guess it's more in the evening, I should say. Now, the downsides to this are kind of, I think, self-explanatory. So it's obviously going to chew into my evenings, and then I will have a couple hours to be home, and then around 5 p.m. I'm going to have to head to the candy shop and do some packaging there until around 10 p.m. The other downside is that it's going to chew into my time with my wife, which I'm a night owl, but my wife isn't, so that's usually the time that we get to spend with each other. The other bright side is that they offered the position to her as well, but she's not going to be able to join until November, so maybe once November hits, we'll actually be able to do this together, and though it's not like it's one-on-one time, at least we'll be able to see each other throughout the evening. And it's only a temporary thing. It's not like I'm going to be doing this for several months or even years. This is really just so that I can continue to aggressively pay off specifically my private student loans before those government loans become due again. I know I'm not going to hit zero on my private student loans, but I would like to be as aggressive as possible with the time I have left remaining on the deferment for those government loans. And maybe I'll make a video about that experience once it's done and over with how much I made and whether or not I think it's worth it or something I would do again. Let's move away and let's move on down the list to the other items on my spreadsheet. Now, last video, the first video in September, I already talked about the dividends, so I'm not going to go into that. You'll have to go back and watch the video. My cashback rewards and rebates, I have around $65 so far this, well, not this month, but that's just how much I'm going to be checking out this month. And then if you guys can take a look at this column right here for my produce sale. Now, I know this is a small number, but this is exciting to me. As I've mentioned in previous videos, I'm a gardener. I grow a lot of peppers, and I either sell peppers or I sell stuff I make with peppers, such as red pepper jelly or hot pepper mustard. And this month, I did actually have a sale. It was with one person, a friend of mine in particular, who wanted a big bag of peppers and some of the products I make with that, like the hot pepper mustard. And so, Joseph, if you're watching this video, shout out to you. Thank you so much for doing business with me. So I got $26. I'm going to add that to my income side, and that can go towards paying off my debt. Let's continue to work down this spreadsheet, as now we're going to be dipping into the expenses side of things. Now, I already discussed in the first video for the budget with me in September about my mortgage that's due on the 1st of every month. And this month was actually the last month where the payment is going to be right around $1,000. Next month, it's going to be bumping up by $59. I think this has something to do with the taxes and that the homeowner's insurance went up a little bit from last year. But it's not a super significant increase with my mortgage. I wish it didn't happen, but I think that's kind of just part of being a homeowner, is that your taxes might increase or that your cost for coverage of your home insurance might increase. Moving on down the list to internet. Now, as you guys know, I talk about it on this channel. My internet expense is one of the consistent things in life for me. It's always been $49.99 since I've lived here, but I think Spectrum did one of their yearly things that they like to do, where after you've been a customer, a loyal paying customer, a faithfully paying customer for a year, they like to then jack up your prices and jack up how much you have to pay each month for their services. Strange that people do this. It's kind of like they try to get you in the door, and then once you're in the door, they like to slam it and then beat you up a little bit. Not really, but that's the picture I get. And I didn't catch it until it was too late. They actually bumped up my internet to $64.99. And just for your guys' information, I only get internet through these guys. It's not like I get internet and cable or internet and phone. I just get internet. So you'd think it would be like stinking cheap if I was just getting one service from these guys. But I actually looked it up, and this is more expensive than if I got like a bundle with cable with them. I'm not going to get cable because I don't want it. I will be contacting Spectrum regarding this price here. A lot of times companies get away with jacking up your monthly subscriptions to their service because they know no one is going to call them. They know they can just do it. Most people have these type of payments on auto pay, and so it's just going to keep going, and it's going to get paid either way. And most people are just like, what's 15 bucks? Well, 15 bucks to me is 15 bucks I could be putting towards my student loans, and that adds up over a full year. So when I get a chance this month, I'm going to be calling Spectrum and using some of the negotiating tips and tricks and scripts that I learned from reading I Will Teach You to Be Rich. I think I actually made a video about that book on this channel a while back. If you haven't read it, it's a great book, especially about personal finance for, I would say, the modern reader when it comes to personal finance. I think it's a great resource. So I'm going to be using that and the things I've learned in that book regarding negotiating on the phone with lowering a monthly bill. And let's just let's just see what happens. If they choose to lower it, that will be great. If not, I think there is another provider that does provide to my area a little bit slower speed, less than half of this price. So maybe that will just be a better choice overall. We'll see. I'll have to think more about that when my brain can think about that. Next up, we have water on the list for my expenses. This isn't a month that I have to pay for water, so it stays at 0. And then moving on down the list, we have car insurance. I was just talking about Spectrum, how they like to raise my prices every year. Well, my car insurance, they've done the opposite. They've consistently over the last 2 to 3 months been slowly lowering the price I pay each month. It was around $130, I think about 3 to 4 months ago. It went down to $118. And then the other day, and they always text me right before it's about to pull it from my bank account. The other day I checked and we are now at $117 and I think 2 cents. So they went down $1.12. Cool. That's fine with me. I'm not going to complain. That keeps coming down. So be it. I'm not going to argue with that. Next up, we have my phone. That hasn't changed. It did recently change, but that was because we're on a family plan, and my aunt was kind of looking back over all, I think, 7 or 8 of us that are on this plan, and we realized that for like the last year, I was actually underpaying her, and she's super sweet. She wasn't going to make me pay back payments for all those. She's just like, hey, from now on, can you pay this much? I think I was paying $89 before, but now it's $101 for my wife and I. So there's that. Moving on to student loans. This is the first student loan payments that are made throughout the month. This is the one that I consider to be necessary. It's the one that's due usually on the 10th of each month. My private loans, and this $800 was pulled out on the 10th. Boom, there it is. Next up, we have the electric bill. That is due randomly each month, usually between the 19th and the 26th. This month it was due, I believe, on the 17th or 19th, so I already paid it. I believe I already talked about that in my first September Budget With Me video, but I would like to state this, that I've mentioned in a couple other videos, especially my most recent home buying video of how it's been living in my house for the last year. And I mentioned that my house is very efficient. It can save energy very well. It retains cooling well. It retains its heat properties very well. I don't even know if I just said that right, but you get the picture. And I've been realizing that I think the electric bill is based off of previous years and averages of how much my house and residence used up in terms of its energy in the past years. So they're kind of averaging those years into this year, which could possibly be raising my gas and electric bill. I'm going to try something out that I haven't done before, and that is submitting meter readings to get a more accurate expense assessment from my gas and electric company. So instead of them just estimating and calculating it in what it has been for the past few years, they'll just calculate what it actually is. Because what's the point in having all these energy saving things like a high R value in the attic and in the walls and smart equipment in the home to save gas and electric if I'm still going to be billed as if I didn't have any of those things? That's just my kind of solution for it. Sorry, the camera's wiggling. I just hit it with my foot. Next up on the list is groceries. And groceries this month has completely snuck away from me. I don't know how it happened. Usually our average grocery budget is anywhere from $150 to right around $200 at the highest it's been. Other than like a couple months, like the first month we moved into our house where we had to stock up on a lot of things because we had literally nothing in terms of groceries. But usually it's around $150 to $200. Well, this month it has completely snuck away from us. I think it's because of birthdays and other hosting things that we've done, but we are over budget for groceries. And unfortunately, I just looked it up. According to my Mint app, it is right now at $288. So as you can see, it turns red. we are $88 over budget for September. Oops. Don't know how it happened, but it did. And groceries are one of those things where it's going to happen. It happens to everybody that they go over budget with groceries. And just when you think you've got it down and how much money you spend on groceries, it just turns the tables on you. And somehow it's like, whoa. Obviously, the price of things has been increasing lately, but it hasn't been increasing by that much. Oh well, it is what it is. Amazon Prime, that's a monthly subscription, usually around $14. Nothing really much to see or talk about there. Gas. Gas prices are getting crazy. They're getting out of control. It's ridiculous. Yeah, but you need gas. My car needs gas. I don't have a hybrid. I don't have an electric car. I don't have a Tesla. I got a Hyundai Elantra, which uses fuel. I just looked at my Mint mobile app to see how much gas I've actually bought this month. And right now, I believe it's around $120. I'm going to put that in there. However, I will say that number is going to jump because next week I go on vacation. We're going down to, I think, South Carolina. That's a big drive for us. Going to be using up gas. Thankfully, I think when you go south, where I am, I go south to go to South Carolina. When you go south, usually gas prices get a little bit lower. And it will also be cool to, when I travel, to try to use that in conjunction with my GetUpside gas app that I've been using lately. I'll leave a link to that in the description. Actually, it'll be a referral code. I don't know if when you sign up with my referral, if you get a kickback and some extra points as well that you can use as cash back and cash out once you have been using up this app when you go and pay for gas. But I will leave a link to that in the description. And then lastly on the list, we have fast food. And I don't think we've spent too much money on fast food this month. It's right around, my Mint app said it's $8. That's not too bad. Let's just try to keep it there. But once again, I said we're going on vacation, so we'll probably swing through McDonald's or swing through a gas station, pick something up. Oh well, it's going to probably be more than $20 this month. It is what it is. Sometimes you just gotta live and let die, live and let live. I don't know which one of those sayings goes with what I'm trying to convey by not caring if I go over $20 with fast food this month. You guys can figure that out. Leave it in the comments which one of those I should have said, or what phrase I should have said. Que sera, sera, I don't know. So now that we're done with looking at each individual income line or the expenses, let's go ahead and look at the totals for the month of September 2021. As we can see up here with my income total, I budgeted for around $4,421. Didn't meet that. It's $4,107.04. That number's not going to really be changing. There's nothing really else going to be happening this month that's going to cause my income to go up, unless I have more produce sales, which I might, but I'm not crossing my fingers too hard for that one. So we have a leftover amount of income of $4,107. If we move on down to my expenses, we can see that I budgeted for around $2,700 in expenses. In all reality, it turns out to be around a little more than $2,500 in expenses, which leaves me with some money left over of around this number right here, $1,539.93. And this number, most likely, hopefully all of it, I will be able to take and put towards my student loans. One of the reasons that I'm even budgeting isn't so much household stability as other people who budget do. Budgeting to me means figuring out how much money I can then take and dump towards student loans, because they are the ultimate killer of not only my net worth, but also of my cash flow each month. And if I can conquer both of those things, increasing my net worth, and also, I think most importantly, taking over and taking back control of my cash flow each month, then I will be in a good place financially, and I will be able to make bigger gains and trek at a much more rapid rate towards financial independence. But if you would like to take a look at one of the biggest assets I own, be sure to check out this video right here, and I will see you in the next one.